I am Carissa Holmes,
I am Joel Whitaker.
and we are Tingari. We would like to chat with you all today a little bit about our first EP, The Tunnel. We get a lot of questions about the tracks and the words or the lack thereof, and people are wondering what the meaning is behind the track and what we're trying to say and what we're trying to convey. And as with anything you create, there are multiple layers of meaning that you discover with time, but we can share some of those with you here tonight so that you can get a little bit of better grasp about what's going on in here and in here when we create and share our music. So, The Tunnel. First track, the title track was The Tunnel. You want to chat about that one for a bit?
Well, the tunnel, I guess, it started out just as a drum beat and evolved into a little bit more than we expected. It was really an excellent or fun track to work on. A lot of neat soundscapes and, heavy, growly synthesizers and stuff. Lyrically, the tunnel was based on, a kind of a gnarly psychedelic experience I had, and when you feel confronted with some dark or scary issues, you're not sure how to explore these issues and how to work through them, and sometimes it can get really frightening and tough, but it also can be attributed to everyday life issues and problems, whether to not take a chance or to face your fear so you can get to the other side, so you can see what's on the other side of the tunnel.
Right. I really liked we collaborated together to write the lyrics for this track, and I loved getting his perspective and weaving that in together, like you said, with moments from your life. That it doesn't have to be a psychedelic experience, it can be anything. There's always this sense of you being on the cusp of this thing that's bigger than you, that's calling you to get bigger and to expand, and there's fear involved, that we're programmed, our bodies and our nervous systems are programmed to keep us small so we survive. The mediocre survive is what the tale of the human animal has been, but we're not here to be mediocre. And this whole experience of breaking through and going through the tunnel and getting to the light at the other end, which is just you,
Right.
or the next layer of you.
Yeah.
I loved collaborating with you. That your words came in and weaving them in with my words, and we just told this story of how.
And it all just flew, kind of flowed so perfectly when we did it. It was so effortless and it felt good, because we've all been there, and we've all overcome to a certain degree.
Absolutely. So next track, Gaian Mind, Mama Gaia. This track obviously was about Gaia reconnecting to Earth, and this lament about how humankind has become disconnected from the mother, from the Earth Mother. But there's also this point in the song where the lyrics are saying, you want your mommy, you want your mommy. And yes, we're talking about, you want your Mother Earth, you want to connect with her. But it was also kind of this playful, sexual thing. And it was provocative on purpose, because why do we find it weird or repulsive or inappropriate that mother should be sexual? Just the nature of mother is sexual. She's procreative, she's generative, and the fact that we have this sanitized view of mother, this puritanical figure in an apron, in the kitchen, and smelling of Lysol and lavender essential oil and fresh baked cookies or something, smiling all the time, not supposed to be sensual or sexual. I just think that's bullshit, and it's time to drop that. It's time to let mother be a whole being, to embrace her sexuality, her sensuality, everything, every aspect of her power, and to let that weave together with the divine masculine as the divine feminine is rising, and redefining what mother is and why do we recoil at these aspects of a whole woman. So that was kind of where that phrase was coming from, on purpose, kind of poking at people, knowing they would react to mommy and sexual being in the same lyric.
But like Carissa was saying, we have this tantric symbiotic relationship with Mother Earth. We're dancing with her, we're a part of her, and she's a part of us, and we really depend on her. So it's a very important song as well to understand that we need to start treating her like we would any other being in our lives.
A loving partner.
A loving partner. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the lyrics, we got to reconnect to make it good, because we can't heal ourselves if we're disconnected from the earth and if we continue to abuse and rape the earth. So it's a symbiosis, and the song is a call to come back to that balance, to wholeness.
Right.
Wind over water.
Wind over water. Tingari, when we started thinking about this project, it was the idea was to kind of just visit different areas and genres and not like pigeonhole ourselves into a specific genre. And so kind of took a poke at an old genre, kind of like the tech house feel, where there's a lot of builds and risers and one major heavy drop, which is the bass line, about a third of the way through this song. It also gives you that feeling of flying or taking off, and it has
Over water.
it's just like it's a run through and of all your emotions, and it's pretty cool. My favorite aspect of this track was the guitar kind of thing at the end. It has this really calming and resolutional vibe to it. It gave it like a finality to the whole song. So
I like it because it reminds me, every time I hear Wind Over Water, it reminds me of this giant spaceship coming up out of the ocean and kind of hovering, and then all of a sudden when you get to the break section where the bass comes in, it just takes off, and all the synths work together, and just the feeling of the song has this drive behind it that's very much, you can feel the water element underneath it, and you can feel the air element on top of it, and it's just like this spaceship is just skating right over the surface of the ocean. And when I was doing the flute, I played my flute on this track, I said, I don't want any vocals on here, I just want to play my flute. I want that wind just singing through that instrument and picking up on that mood. It just makes you want to dance.
The flute's my favorite part. It brings that wind aspect to it. It kind of starts telling a story over top of all this movement. It's really, really cool.
Breaker of Chains. Breaker of Chains was the first track that I did with Tingari when I first joined the group, when Clay Weiland was still in it. He's not in it now. And I came into the studio with you guys to record vocals. And we had no plan. I had no idea what the track sounded like. Had never heard it before that day. I just showed up because I like to roll like that anyway, and I was super happy that they were spontaneous like that and didn't want to over-rehearse and over-plan and over-produce and just let things happen. So I came in, and we're all packed into this little room, and I heard the beat, and immediately, the download started. I said, okay, I got something. And I started just what's called toning, vocal toning over top of the track. And it's where you're using vowel sounds and syllables and overtones, but no actual words in any known language. And I like toning because the energy of what you're conveying, who you are, your message, can come through unimpeded by words that have all these connotations, and people can misinterpret them and misunderstand them, or just hear them wrong, or they assume that they know what you're talking about because they know the word and they may not know what you meant. So it was really fun to kind of experiment with just allowing what needed to be conveyed without words, with just the energy of the vowels and the consonants, creating this kind of percussive hook. And I think it's definitely interesting for people. We've had a lot of questions about breaker. Like, they go, what does it mean? What language is that? What is she saying?
What do you want it to mean?
What do you want it to mean? Yeah, it's really just, Breaker of Chains for me is, I look at art as an emancipator, and what we do, we hope that people can connect with it and free themselves from some little piece of something they feel is holding them back from being who they want to be, doing what they want to do, whatever it is. And this song, Breaker, is just about humans freeing themselves. And you don't need words to convey that.
I agree. Yeah, and you know, also it was our first track. It was something that we put together, like she said, spontaneously. All we had was a drum beat, and she came in and blessed the whole thing with her voice. Like she was saying, Clay Weiland used to be with our act. He was on Breaker of Chains, Wind Over Water, The Tunnel, and Guy in Mind. And he, you know, he was an awesome part of this, you know, process. He had to, you know, take a leave of absence with us because he wanted to pursue more of the, his own massage business and family lifestyle. So, and you know, but we have a lot of gratitude for him, and he was a good guy to work with. So, but yeah, Breaker to me for me it was like the first real track that I had put together using the equipment that I am using now, and it was super refreshing. It was also my learning track when it came to mix down and all this stuff, so it was quite the process. But I like how simple and how minimal it is. In some ways it has like kind of a video game feel to it in a way, a really cool like Nine Inch Nails-esque bridge and at the end, you know. But you know, it was amazing how it evolved. You know, it was drums, vocals, and then the bass line, and then you know all the other instruments that we incorporated into it, and it was just kind of strange how it unfolded. You know, it almost made itself unfold, and we really had no control in the situation. You know, so
it's good not to think that you're controlling your work.
Right.
It's a good way to make bad work.
Yeah.
So if you think you're controlling it, it's coming from your head, and nothing good comes from your head.
No.
So we like to just kind of give ourselves at least a few opportunities to just channel and let the track become what it wants to become. It's like a child, you know, you don't own your children. You just bring them here and they become what they choose to become. So we're kind of looking at our tracks in the same way, like, we'll let that original idea come through and just not mess with it and not over mess with the knobs and buttons, and just let it be, and try not to overproduce.
Yeah, that's the key.
So,
the key. Or at least make it sound like it's overproduced.
Yeah. I think that, you know, our first EP, The Tunnel, it's when we came together, and it's how we figured out how to work together. And now that we have a second EP out and two more actually half done,
Yeah.
It's really, looking back now, we see how crucial The Tunnel was in us figuring out our process and creating art to share as a group. It's just, it'll always be, you'll never forget the first one. So.
No, not at all. Definitely all learning experiences.
Yep. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And if you want to hear The Tunnel without us talking over top of it, just head over to our Bandcamp or SoundCloud. Namaste. Namago.